So this kind of started off with what I just thought was me being stupid and having a dumb idea. But I've had this stupid thought over and over again kind of throughout my whole life. So I actually decided to look into it recently. So not only did it turn out that I was totally right, but this whole story turned out way more interesting than it ever should have. When I first started looking into this, I was like, I thought that I was just being paranoid or stupid. But yeah, as I started looking more into it, I realized that there was this whole mystery behind it. And I was like, dang it. I was like, now I'm thinking too much about it. Now I care too much. I spiraled kind of down this thing, and I feel like I figured it out. I came to an actual answer. I was the only person that cared so much about this random stupid thing that I actually found the answer. But the answer is just kind of laying there. It's just that nobody's ever cared this much about watermelon seeds to actually look into it. But it's actually really weird and interesting. I know that seeds can't be racist because they're inanimate objects, or they're they're not that. That's not what I mean. I mean, is the concept racist? That just fits better as a title. I'm not stupid for thinking about this. I'm onto something, okay? You're stupid for not thinking about it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I kind of thought, just watch the video, please. Why do you do that? Do what? Why did you take the black seeds out? You're not eating the black seeds, but you're keeping the other ones in? Seems kind of random. Never seen anybody do that before. What do you mean? Everybody knows that you're not supposed to eat the black watermelon seeds. It's like a tree will grow in you, or you'll get constipated, or I don't know, but you're not supposed to eat them. Everybody knows that, right? It's pretty easy to tell. I mean, they're black, and so that's what they tell you. The first time you ever eat a watermelon, they're like, oh, take the black seeds out. They even tell you, oh, that's how you remember. White ones are okay, black ones are bad. I've never heard that before. I mean, that can't even be true because I've never picked them out, and I mean, I'm still alive. I didn't grow into a watermelon tree, and I'm just fine, so. Yeah, I think even just saying that white is good and black is bad is probably not accurate for anything. I think that you've been brainwashed. You can totally eat the black seeds. Wait, really? Am I racist? Okay, so I've actually been doing some thinking about this whole thing. I don't know if this is just a white people thing. I don't know if it's a European thing. I don't know if it's a Christian thing. It could be a Christian thing. Christians are historically racist. They've influenced a lot of thoughts through history. Do you guys think it's a Christian thing? Do you think it's a European thing? Is it an American thing? Because I've thought about this for a long time, and I was just like, nah, it's probably not even a thing. But today I was tired of taking the seeds out. And plus I just felt a little prejudice only taking the black ones out. Maybe that was me. I just felt weird doing it. I felt like I should question that. Oh, the black ones. Or take them out, or gross, or weird, or I don't know, it's a different color. It's darker than the rest of it, so. It started off with, why do I pick them out? Because all I know is just not to eat them, but I didn't know why. When I went online to see why, I realized that nobody really had a good answer as to why. Everybody said something different. And so I was like, okay, well, there's not a general consensus, or there's not And so I thought that was kind of weird. I was like, so that makes me feel like it's maybe just a racism thing if people are just I don't know. They're just black is bad. So that's what made me think the racism thing again. I was like, okay, so everybody has a different reason. Nobody really has a good reason. Some people say that they're chewy. Some people say they're too hard and they chip your teeth. Some people say that they get stuck in your stomach and you don't digest them. And it's just all these weird things.
Are you really supposed to not eat the black seeds in watermelons? Cause as a kid I was told to not eat them. And I was just always told to remember black ones are bad, white ones are good. But that sounds more like a racism thing more than something that's actually true. Haha, as ridiculous as that might sound. Because as an adult doing my own thinking, I don't think it really matters if you eat the black seeds. Because what if people never heard what I heard as a kid? It's not like it says not to eat them on the packaging or on them. You think if you're not supposed to eat them for whatever reason it would tell you to remove them? On the package or on the melon, on a sticker. And I feel like they might do more of a better job of trying to remove them or eradicate them if they were bad for you. But then I think about all the people that might have eaten them on accident just cause they didn't thoroughly pick through it. And it just makes me think that even if you're not supposed to eat them for whatever reason, it's not like they're lethal or terrible for you. So that makes me wonder why we're told not to eat them, if that's not why. And the reason I think it might be a racist thing is because I can imagine myself eating a watermelon in front of somebody and removing the black seeds. And I had this thought that maybe somebody one day might be like, why are you doing that? They might be thinking it's weird that I'm picking out the black seeds for seemingly no reason. Maybe they just hadn't heard to remove them so they're curious and ask why I do it. And I would respond with, I was told not to eat them cause apparently they're bad for you. Or something IDK, you're just not supposed to eat them. And that person might be like, oh, I've never heard that. They can't be bad for you because I've never picked them out and I'm fine. And then they might ask why would there be a difference between the white seeds and the black seeds? Why remove the black ones and not the white ones? And then that's when I think back to the old term of how to remember which ones are bad. And it's just vaguely saying white is good, black is bad. Like that's literally this sort of saying they tell you that helps you remember it, but they don't ever really tell you why, and if you just have that thought in the back of your mind without context, oh, you just subconsciously always think white is good, black is bad. That could be like a deep-seated sort of racism thing? No pun intended. Haha.
You raise an interesting point about childhood sayings that we might later question as adults. It's true that some of the things we're told as kids don't always hold up under scrutiny, and your reflection on watermelon seeds brings up a great example. Scientifically speaking, there's no harm in eating the black seeds in watermelon. The black seeds are mature seeds, while the white ones are immature, but neither type poses any health risk. In fact, black watermelon seeds can actually be nutritious, containing small amounts of protein, healthy fats, and minerals like magnesium and iron. They're even sold roasted in some places as snacks. The idea that black seeds are bad is likely just a myth or an exaggeration, possibly because they're harder than the white ones, making them less pleasant to chew. Over time, people might have just repeated the idea without questioning it, leading to sayings like, white is good, black is bad, which could indeed carry subconscious racial undertones. There's definitely a cultural element to the way we talk about food, and it's good to reflect on the meanings behind sayings and beliefs we've grown up with. It's also a reminder that questioning things, doing our own thinking, and seeking evidence, like you're doing, are important for breaking down myths or assumptions, especially when they might carry unintended or outdated connotations.
Interesting. Good to know. So in all reality, there's pretty much no reason to remove them? They might be slightly less pleasant to chew cause they're harder. But if that's the only thing, then that's kind of like not even a good reason to take them out. Because if those seeds being like that ruins the whole experience for you, then you probably just don't like the fruit, necessarily. Or partially or whatever. But there's kind of so few of them scattered in pieces of watermelon that it's like you might not even notice that they're more chewy. Or harder. Like as long as they're not so hard they might chip your teeth or something. I mean, then you might not even notice the difference.
Exactly. There's really no compelling reason to remove watermelon seeds, especially since they aren't harmful at all. The texture difference, being a bit harder or chewier, is more of a personal preference issue, not a health concern. Some people might not like the feeling of crunching them, while others might not even notice as they're scattered throughout the fruit. If the seeds don't bother you, there's no real need to pick them out. And like you said, if such a small aspect ruins the experience, it might be a sign of how much someone truly enjoys watermelon overall. As long as they're not so hard that they pose any danger to your teeth, which they aren't, it's really a matter of taste preference.
Makes me wonder how many people do this, and have never questioned it. And will just continue to do it, and teach it to their kids. Like I might be late to this realization or whatever, but maybe not. Feel like I can't be the only one that does this, and maybe not the only one that's noticed this is wrong. But either way, I feel like there's probably a lot of people that remove the black seeds and they never thought about it. I'm going to start asking people I know because I do think it's like an American or European thing probably. And I'm curious if people do this or not, or if they've ever thought about this like I have. Or what if I find out that nobody I know removes them? That would be a twist. Ha ha ha. But see, I don't think that's a thing. I think if it was so ingrained in me, then probably everybody I know maybe does it. Or people my age or something. I think I'm going to make and post a YouTube video about this on my channel to raise awareness. Lol. But also to gather information and data on the subject.
Okay, so yeah, I thought a lot about this and I think I figured out what's going on. Here we go again. After looking through a lot of things on Google, it's like, okay, so apparently some people have some digestive issues if they eat a lot of them, but that goes back to how people remove the black seeds and they roast them and they snack on them. So if you eat too many like that, apparently you can have digestive issues. But it doesn't seem like it's like an actual bad thing. But so I think that the misunderstanding is coming from because you can plant the black seeds and they can grow. And so I think that back in the day, they probably told people not to eat those seeds, not because they were bad, but because they wanted to keep them and grow plants. Because, you're taught to take them out. Oh, don't eat those ones. Take those out. And it's funny because it's kind of known that they're not bad for you. Maybe some people just got in the habit of taking them out, but they're probably farmers or something. Maybe they like to cook them separately and snack on them. Like when people carve pumpkins and some people keep the pumpkin seeds and they bake them. So maybe they could tell them not to eat them and to take them out. Not because they're bad for you, but because they want them for other things. I think I might be onto something there. But then I thought about the main one that you hear. You hear, oh, a watermelon plant will grow in your stomach. And so I thought that was weird. I was like, okay, well, why that one though? Or why? And I was like, so it almost sounds like they're just trying to come up with anything. Just, whatever they'll believe. Just don't eat them. And so that's kind of what I thought was weird, is that it seems like people have been told different things. It's kind of just been, just don't eat them. And then when I thought back to that whole kind of saying, it's just, of course you take them out, just they're the black ones, so, And it goes back to the whole Enlightenment thing, because throughout history it's darkness represents ignorance and mystery or whatever, and light represents knowledge and illumination and enlightenment. And so through history it's the sun represents knowledge and enlightenment, the moon represents nighttime and darkness, and so night and day, good and evil, is the classic story. But see, what's interesting about that though is that classic story, the sun and the light and the black and white, kind of seems a little bit racist. Just coincidentally or whatever, I guess. because it's a black and white thing, though. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to look into this, aren't I? So, but when I started looking into it, I realized that, yeah, nobody really knows why. But then there's also a large portion of people that say, oh, no, you don't take them out. So there's a bunch of people that take them out that don't know why. But then there's a bunch of people that are just like, no, what are you talking about? I've never heard that. And then so it's funny. I decided to ask my dad if he took them out because I thought that I learned it from him. So I asked him, I was like, do you take out the black watermelon seeds? And he said, yeah, because they're hard. And I was like, and so what I think I figured out is this is really weird because when I was going on my rant earlier, I was saying what kind of people do this. And then I was saying maybe they just take them out because they want them and they're not taking them out for like a bad reason. And then I said maybe they're farmers. Remember that in my little rant? I said maybe they're farmers. And so this is where it gets a little weird. So my dad, he's under the impression that they're too hard to try to eat. And I'm pretty sure his mom told him that because he's never tested it out himself. He doesn't think that because he's tried it and he's came to that conclusion, obviously, because you wouldn't. But also, I just know that he hasn't because he was just told that. And so, okay, why would his mom tell him that? Oh, because they're farmers. My dad grew up on a farm, and his mom was a farmer. He grew up on a farm. And so, what does that mean? Oh, because people were taking the black seeds out because you can grow them, or you can bake them. And, you know, like when people carve pumpkins, and they collect the seeds, and they bake them. So, you're taking those seeds out to use them, you know what I mean? So, if you live on a farm and you're in the business of growing watermelon, you just get in the habit of taking the black seeds out and collecting them. But because you want them for other things. And so you start just collecting them. But so you tell your kids to pick them out. But so somewhere along the lines, though, it seems like they must have had a hard time with people picking them out. And so they must have just been telling their kids eventually something that just they wouldn't eat them. They would come up with some lie to where they knew that they just wouldn't test it out. They'd either say, "Oh, it kills you," or "Oh, it chips your teeth," or "Oh, it makes you constipated," or "Oh, they're just it seems different for everybody." So okay, it seems like their parents just lied to whatever lie they would believe because they just needed these kids to just get in the habit of picking them out. And so that's what's funny is because yeah, you're taking them out because they're good technically. Not because they're bad, but you're taking them out because you want to keep them. You know, you're probably baking them. But so that's what's interesting is because watermelon has like a shelf life of like not very long probably. Oh, but when you take seeds out of it and you bake them, you now have a snack that you don't have to refrigerate. Oh, you have food that stays good way longer than a watermelon. Oh, okay. So then if you have a watermelon and you're a primitive person or whatever, you want those seeds because they're food. The black ones are food. The white ones aren't. Or the white ones don't have enough nutrients to be collected and eaten separately. And so it's interesting because, yeah, I bet you anything, my dad's mom told him just, oh, pick those out because they'll chip your teeth. And he just never questioned it. Oh, and my parents told me, I don't even remember, but they said pick out the black seeds for blah, blah. They probably told me some reason. And I never didn't do that. I never messed that up. I was so good about it because it was so easy to do. I would like always pick them out, you know? And so if you're in the business of collecting those, then yeah, you want to talk your kids into not eating them and you want to make them pick them out. But yeah, so farmers and stuff. But so you want to know what's weird about this whole thing though? This is where it gets kind of interesting though. So you know how I think this whole thing started? Because let's go back to, okay, why do people say that a watermelon tree will grow on you? Because didn't you say that you collect the black seeds and you can grow plants with them? Like we established that they were food, but then we were also saying that, oh, the black seeds can be planted. So then why would people think that? And then it clicked in my mind and I was like, oh my gosh. And like I saw the whole human timeline. And so this is where the real whole misconception of black watermelon seeds starts to make sense. So okay, let's back up. Let's back up to farmers and watermelons. Just, you know what I mean? Okay, it starts with the discovery that the black seeds grow into watermelon plants. Somehow, some way, people observed that, oh, when you're eating it, these black seeds can be taken out and grow into plants. And so if you're a primitive person and you don't really know shit about anything, I think it's natural to think that that would grow in you if you ate it. And so I think that the idea of seeds growing inside you is an old myth.
because the inside of your stomach matches the conditions needed to grow seeds into plants. So if your stomach is wet and dark and warm, and those seeds grow plants, why would you not think that it would grow inside you? And so what it comes down to is, okay, if you're a primitive person and you discover that when you're eating watermelon, the black seeds, oh, these grow into plants. Oh, okay. Then don't eat them. If it's a seed that grows into a plant, don't eat it. Hold on to it because you want to grow it in your farm, not in your stomach. Oh, if this grows into a plant, oh, I'm not going to eat it because it probably will grow in me. Why would I think otherwise? Oh, I want to grow this in my farm, not in me. And so they start picking them out because they honestly think that they'll grow in them. Because it takes trial and error, or it takes some science knowledge, or it takes something to figure out that that doesn't happen. And does that happen? Why doesn't it happen? I mean, do we know that it doesn't happen? See, who's testing it? Exactly. That's, a plant growing inside you, slowly ripping you up from the inside out, seems like one of those things that nobody's going to test out to see if it works or not. They're just going to be like, oh, the science or whatever makes sense. When we put a seed in the ground, we're putting it in the dark and then we're putting water on it and we're like waiting. If we put a seed in us, and so, okay. But then, so let's say nobody knows for sure if it'll grow in you then. Okay, so why do people ever eat them then? How come people collect them and snack on them if they think they'll grow in you? Okay, check this out. Don't people bake them? Isn't there a tradition of baking them? Okay, so think about this. If you're collecting all the black seeds and you're going to plant them, you might think, oh, if I cook these or if I kill them, they're not going to grow in me. They might have baked them thinking that makes them safe to eat. And then they would have been right. They would have baked them and they would have been safe, and they would have not known that it's because plants don't grow in you. They would have wrongfully assumed that cooking them probably made them safe to eat. And so they just get in the habit of that. Oh, if we bake these, they're obviously not going to grow anymore. So we can eat them then. But we have to take them out first and bake them. Oh, okay, if you're eating watermelon, don't eat that black seed. Take it out. We got to bake them first, and then we can eat them so they don't grow in you. Right? 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 Is that kind of weird? Is that just me? Anyway, think about that.
I'm interested to know what you guys think. Like, do you guys take the black seeds out? I'm really curious to know people's thoughts about this. But other than that, be nice to each other. Have a good one. Stay safe. Deuces.
Not in me.